It's 7:46 a.m. on the 28th of October 2025. In the South China Sea near Scarborough Shoal, the U.S. destroyer USS Higgins, DDG-76, cuts through calm gray water. Then radar scopes flare two fast-moving contacts closing from the west. Multiple tracks, bearing 115, range 500 yards. Alarms echo through steel corridors. On deck, cameras lock onto shapes on the horizon. Two Chinese Type 52D destroyers are sliding in hard, bows angled, guns uncovered. They're not just trailing, they're blocking. Bridge-to-bridge radios crackle. "You are violating Chinese security conditions. Leave immediately." The reply from Higgins is calm and rehearsed. "We are conducting lawful navigation. Every word is recorded. Every tone matters. No shots fired. No ramming." But nobody relaxes. This is inside 12 nautical miles of Scarborough, a spot both sides claim. One wrong move here doesn't just risk a collision. It risks dragging Washington and Beijing into open crisis before breakfast. Scarborough Shoal, a broken ring of reef and sand in the South China Sea. No flag, no port, nothing you could live on. But right now, it's one of the most dangerous spots on Earth. The USS Higgins isn't here for show. It's on a freedom of navigation operation, the Navy's way of saying, these waters are international, and no country can just draw a circle and call it closed. China rejects that. Beijing treats this area like home waters, escorts its own boats, and warns others to keep out. Chinese statements call ships like Higgins illegal intruders. So when Higgins moves inside 12 nautical miles, two Chinese Type 50, 2D destroyers close in fast. They box the American ship, match speed, and sit close enough to film faces on deck. No shots fired, no ramming, just controlled pressure. Get close. Record everything. Claim we forced them out later. For the crew, the risk is personal. One bad radio call or sudden turn could spark the first real clash between US and Chinese warships in years. But backing off would hand Beijing a headline. US destroyer expelled from Chinese waters. And that matters far beyond this reef. The Philippines just expanded US access to bases on Luzon, putting American ships and aircraft closer to the South China Sea. That deal only works if allies believe the US will actually stand its ground under pressure. Inside the bridge, voices stay calm and tight. Every word is recorded. Later, lawyers, commanders, even diplomats will study this footage frame by frame to decide who escalated. Around them, fishing boats scatter, tankers slow and steer wide. Even civilian traffic can feel the tension. The water looks calm, but nobody on scene feels calm. One side says it's defending open seas, the other says it's defending its territory. Which side would you stand with? Press 1 for the US Navy or 9 for China's fleet. 7:58 a.m. The calm surface of the South China Sea turns electric. The two Chinese destroyers shift formation, tightening to within 400 yards of USS Higgins. Their wakes slice across the gray water in near-perfect symmetry. On Higgins' radar, the tracks merge into one dense cluster, a collision warning waiting to happen. Maintain course and speed, the captain orders. Around him, sailors work with quiet precision. The Combat Information Center glows red. AN divided by Spy 1DV, radar hums at full power, sweeping the sea ahead. The Chinese ships answer with their own Type 346 amperes AESA radar, beams crossing invisibly through humid air. Bridge-to-bridge radios crackle again. "You are entering Chinese territorial waters. Leave immediately," Higgins answers. "We are conducting lawful operations. No insults, no raised voices. Just disciplined calm." Data streams to Indo-PACOM in Hawaii. Cameras roll. Every second becomes evidence. At 8:06, one of the Type 52D cuts inward, wake curling dangerously close to Higgins' port side. Alarms sound collision alert. 2 degrees starboard, the helm officer calls out. The American ship shifts slightly, maintaining its line within international waters. The Chinese destroyer mirrors the move instantly, still close, still watching. Up above, the MH-60R Seahawk spins up, blades slicing air heavy with salt. Its sensors scan the horizon, feeding live footage back to the ship. On the Chinese vessels, 130mm deck guns turn outward, not aimed, but uncovered. A visual reminder, they're ready. The Higgins responds in kind, rotating its mounts to a neutral angle visible, controlled, calm. Below deck, sailors monitor radar and electronic signals from the AN divided by SLQ 32x3 system. Every blip is logged, every pulse recorded. On the bridge, the captain keeps his hands folded behind his back. Outside, the sea churns slightly under their wakes, two warships shadowing each other like duelists waiting for a misstep. By 8:24, the Chinese ships fall slightly astern, adjusting formation but never leaving. The tension doesn't ease, it settles. Both sides know the next hours will decide more than position. They will measure resolve and restraint in real time. 8:37 a.m. The sea stays calm, but tension thickens on every deck. The two Chinese destroyers widen formation, making room for a third contact, a fast-moving dot racing low over the waves. Unmanned aerial vehicle detected, a sensor operator reports. The track is steady, approaching from the Chinese side. A drone. It circles high, lens glinting under the Sunday. The Chinese ships transmit non-stop. You are endangering regional stability. The tone is flat, almost rehearsed, the kind of audio meant to play later on state TV. The Higgins logs every word and signal. This isn't just a naval standoff anymore. It's a live narrative battle. Inside the Combat Information Center, the AN divided by SPY-1DV radar hums at full sweep, while the AN divided by SLQ-32V3 listens for electronic locks. Dozens of pulses flash across displays, coded bursts, radar pings, and sonar reflections. The Chinese fleet is probing, measuring reactions, building a record it can point to. Maintain posture, the captain says. No sharp turns, no targeting radar, no weapon systems online unless directly threatened. Calm is now part of the mission. One wrong move, one bad read, and someone on shore will call it escalation. At 9:02, the Seahawk helicopter spots two fast boats leaving the Chinese formation, darting toward the shallows near the shoal. It's a reminder of who claims the ground below. The Higgins adjusts speed by 1 knot, no retreat, no provocation. Both sides trade silence like gunfire. On the bridge, eyes never leave the screens. Coffee goes cold. Nobody jokes. Radios whisper short reports. The standoff stretches on, and restraint becomes its own weapon. Each second, the U.S. destroyer holds position without flinching, sends a message. We don't yield, but we don't start wars either. From afar, the scene looks still, but static builds like a coming storm. The drone keeps circling. The destroyers hold close. Fast boats skim the edges of shallow reef, and every sailor knows they are one misstep away from the incident that makes world news. As the horizon warms under the morning sun, two navies face each other through silence and steel. If you were there, whose calm would you trust more? Press 1 for the U.S. Navy or 9 for China's fleet? 9:18 a.m. A new contact flashes on radar. Small, fast, low to the water. Unknown surface craft, bearing 082, closing fast. The operator's voice cuts through the hum. Another echo appears, then a third. All three are moving together from the east. They're skimming the surface, the sensor chief reports. The movement is too quick, too steady for fishing boats. The captain leans forward. Mark as unidentified fast craft. Maintain posture, weapons cold. The crew obeys radar track only. No targeting. Restraint still rules. Even now, the Seahawk helicopter banks south, heading straight for the contacts. Its feed streams back in shaky bursts. Small hulls, maybe 20 feet long, wakes spreading fast. No flags. No response on radio. The Chinese destroyers pivot toward the unknowns as if to intercept. For a moment, everyone wonders, is this a setup or a real intrusion? Contact range, 1,000 yards. A tone blares, adrenaline spikes. Sailors grip rails, eyes locked on the displays. The Chinese ships sound horns, deep and deliberate. The small craft suddenly veer, slicing between the fleets before disappearing behind the shoal. Silence. No hit, no shots. But the point is made, control here can shift in seconds. No one knows if those boats were civilians, scouts, or bait. The captain exhales. All stations. Status check. Replies echo. Systems normal. No engagement. Higgins resumes course at 12 knots, shadowed but steady. Every sailor knows they just brushed the edge, the thin line where accidents become incidents. The South China Sea glitters under harsh light. Calm returns, but it feels fragile. The twist has changed the game. Something unseen is watching now, and next time, it may not turn away. 9:41 a.m. The radar alarm sounds again sharp, continuous, unmistakable. Multiple locks detected. A voice shouts from the combat center. On the display, several red icons bloom from the Chinese destroyers. Fire control radars. The room goes silent for half a heartbeat. Confirm they're painting us, the captain says. The reply comes quick. Confirm, sir. SPG-type illumination. Both ships. That means the Chinese vessels have locked their fire control radar one step before launch. The crew knows it. Hearts race, but hands stay steady. Set condition 1. The captain orders. Battle stations. The Higgins systems shift in seconds. SM2 and CIWS brought online, but safety still engaged. A warning goes out on open frequency. You are tracking a U.S. Navy vessel. Deactivate fire control radar immediately. Static answers back, then silence. On deck, sailors brace near the gun mounts. The sea air hums with invisible tension. Both sides now stare through sensors instead of scopes, waiting for a decision that might never come. Above, the Seahawk circles high, its sensors hot and steady. 9:46. The Chinese destroyers begin to turn slow, deliberate. Their radar tones fade one by one. Relief cuts through the tension, but no one celebrates. The Higgins holds course, every weapon still armed but idle. The captain watches the fading signals and says quietly, "They wanted to see if we'd flinch." The crew exhales, some for the first time in minutes. Engines hum back to steady rhythm. The sea feels normal again, but nobody buys it. The message was clear. A single radar pulse could start something no one can stop. At 9:50, both Chinese destroyers take position astern, still within visual range. The sun climbs higher, glinting off gray hulls that look calm but conceal readiness. The ocean seems peaceful, yet the balance has never been thinner. One false reading, one twitch of radar, and the world changes before anyone can blink. For the sailors of Higgins, that's the real fight, not firing, but refusing to fire. Their restraint is the shield holding back a war. If it were you on that deck, finger hovering over the switch, would you hold the line or strike first? Press 1 for the U.S. Navy or 9 for China's fleet. 9:42 a.m. The last Chinese destroyer begins to fall back, turning east toward open sea. Its radar fades to background static. USS Higgins holds position a few minutes longer, then eases north, steady at 12 knots. No weapons fired, no collisions. Just ocean and silence, the kind that follows a near disaster. On board, sailors move quietly, tension still lingering in every step. Some glance at the gray horizon, half expecting another blip to appear. Instead, the water stretches empty, calm again. The bridge crew notes the time, logs every transmission, every radar lock. By regulation, all recordings will be reviewed from voice chatter to censored data proof that the U.S. followed every rule, even when pushed to the edge. News breaks within hours. Beijing declares it successfully expelled a trespassing U.S. ship. Washington counters, USS Higgins conducted lawful operations in international waters. 2 sentences, 2 truths, each meant to win its own audience. In Manila, headlines split. In Tokyo and Canberra, analysts replay the radar tapes frame by frame. But for the crew of Higgins, meaning is simpler. Victory wasn't about firing first or claiming territory. It was about composure, holding the line when provoked, proving that calm under pressure can be stronger than missiles. Restraint became the sharpest weapon of all. By dusk, the Higgins cuts through bronze water, the sun dropping low behind its wake. The South China Sea looks peaceful again, but it's a fragile peace, one held together by judgment, timing, and nerve. Every sailor aboard knows they may face this test again, and next time, the other side might push harder. The standoff at Scarborough will fade from headlines, but not from memory. It will be replayed in war colleges and briefings, a case study in how near war can hinge on seconds, tones, and trust. In this battle of nerves where silence won over fire, whose calm would you trust? Press 1 for the US Navy, or 9 for China's fleet. 7:10 a.m., the 7th of October 2025, the South China Sea. A gray dawn spreads over the Haizi 981 oil platform, its metal silhouette cutting through the mist. Routine maintenance hums over the deck until alarms flare red lights, metallic voices over intercoms. Inbound tracks detected multiple signatures, bearing east. On the horizon, radar screens blink erratically. Electronic noise thickens. P8. Poseidon imagery feeds freeze for seconds before pixelating. In a command room aboard the USS John Finn, officers lean over flickering displays. Submarines USS Louisiana and USS Ohio dive deeper, silent and unseen. Within minutes, calm becomes chaos. An invisible hand sweeps across the sea, the first tremor of a confrontation that could ignite the region. Deck crews catch a rising insectile buzz, loitering drones skim the cloud base. AIS contacts wink out, the rig's radar paints ghosts. ROE panels glow, defend the site, confirm hostile intent, respond proportionally, shift to manual thermal, lasers, human spotters, the PA orders. The South China Sea, a chessboard of sovereignty and steel. For weeks, U.S. and Allied reconnaissance aircraft had tracked unusual plane movements. The carrier Shandong breaking formation, destroyers fanning out, and electronic warfare planes circling like vultures. Satellite feeds caught faint heat blooms near the Haizi 981 platform, dismissed at first as drills. But intelligence from P8 Poseidon and acoustic triangulation confirmed it a strike package forming beyond radar range. Inside the task group's Combat Information Center, tension is palpable. Admiral Keane leans over the plotting table, voice low but sharp. "They're testing our response time," he mutters. "The order is clear. Protect the rig, assert freedom of navigation, and punish any direct assault. Every decision now balances on a razor's edge, restraint or retaliation." Onboard Shandong, fighter crews strap in, mission brief flashing across HUDs. Their goal: neutralize the rig's sensors, cripple its symbolic presence, and project dominance across contested waters. In the silence before engines roar, each pilot knows this strike could echo through decades of diplomacy. Allied ISR broadens the view. Philippine radars, shared satellite snapshots, and a P8 orbit stitching the battle space into a fragile mosaic. Submerged, Louisiana and Ohio align firing solutions. Topside, John Finn readies SM-2 while EA-18G Growlers spool for launch. Loitering munitions are prepped for radome strikes. The platform's crew drills evacuation and fire control. Markets twitch, tankers reroute, and the region holds its breath. If you were commanding this moment, would you strike first or hold fire? Type 1 for strike, 9 for hold. Let's see how you'd shape the outcome. The first contact comes not with a missile, but with silence. At 7:18, radar scopes aboard John Finn fade to black. The spectrum turns to static. Shandong's Y-8 electronic warfare planes begin their sweep. GPS drifts, encrypted comms stutter, and frequencies vanish into white noise. Visual confirmation only. Keen orders. Spotters on the Haizi 981 rig switch to thermal optics. A hum builds loitering drones. Faint in the glare, glide toward the platform. Machine gunners track manually, while an EA-18G Growler dives low, scattering counterjamming bursts that shimmer across the sea. Beneath the surface, USS Louisiana opens its tubes. Tomahawks surge upward, skimming toward enemy EW relays. The horizon flashes, Shandong's escorts lose links, voice channels loop, tactical displays freeze. Super Hornets push in on inertial data and terse hand signals, striking radar masts with precision ordnance. Explosions strobe over whitecaps meant to blind, not sink. A Type 52D veers off, its fire control radar burned out. Another fires chaff at empty air. Over the rig, CIWS cannons roar. One drone disintegrates mid-air. Another slips through and detonates on a catwalk, throwing flame across the deck. Fire crews rush with foam hoses as medics drag 2 wounded below. With radios unreliable, defenders use laser markers and flares green for clear, red for engage. In the depths, USS Ohio detects a braided hum, multiple planned submarines forming a pincer. Passive buoys deploy. An MQ drone relays fragments before fading into static. Above, a growler fires a harm that silences a stubborn emitter. Switchblades and Phoenix Ghosts streak in, striking radomes and masts in arcs of blue fire. The battlespace contracts. SM-2 rise like white spears, shredding drones in mid-air. Fragments rain over steel. The ROE cards stay tucked in pockets, but reality is heat, smoke, and shouted bearings. What began as an invisible duel of signals is now open war, and the next move will draw blood. Allied radars on the horizon blink in and out as jamming rolls like surf. AIS goes dark, nav lights dim, deck teams mark impacts with grease pencils on a trembling chart. Sonar begins classifying screws likely, Type 093, while torpedo evasion plans are readied. A rescue helo remains grounded by interference. Civilians on the rig crowd muster points, helmets on, eyes fixed on the burning catwalk. Smoke drifts over the South China Sea like a wounded shroud. The rig still stands, scorched but functional, a defiant silhouette against the rising Sunday inside John Finn's CIC. The air tastes of metal and sweat. Keen studies fragmented data feeds, each one pulsing between clarity and blackout. We hit their sensors, but not their intent, he growls. On Shandong, chaos mirrors resolve. Damage control teams race across a smoke-streaked deck as J-15 fighters launch in rapid succession. Their radars blink intermittently, forcing them to rely on AWACS relays and voice vectors. Yet even half-blind, they dive forward guided by doctrine and vengeance. A Tomahawk slams into a planned frigate's bridge, shattering antennas and leaving it adrift. But retaliation follows fast. From beyond the haze, anti-ship missiles streak toward the task group, low and fast. The ocean surface erupts with white geysers as SM-2 interceptors and decoys clash mid-air. One missile punches through, detonating near John Finn's aft section. The shock rattles bulkheads, alarms howl, counter, battery, fire control, priority red. Operators scramble. A swarm of MQ series drones dives through the smoke, tagging inbound targets for strike aircraft. An EA-18G jams the incoming missile bands, but the sky is chaos, contrails, static, and burning fragments tumbling through humid air. Below, Ohio maneuvers aggressively. A Type 093 submarine attempts a torpedo spread. Countermeasures deploy in clouds of bubbles. Depth charges echo through the dark like thunder in slow motion. One torpedo explodes prematurely, a bloom of light beneath the surface. Back on the rig, defenders hold positions amid burning metal. Manual targeting persists. Fire teams alternate between defense and rescue. Overhead, 2 Super Hornets bank hard, releasing cluster munitions that shred an approaching drone wave before vanishing behind plumes of salt and smoke. In a single minute, the balance shifts again, both sides bloodied, neither retreating. Radios crackle. Stand by for next volley. Every operator knows it's no longer about protection, it's about survival and message. If you were in command at this breaking point, would you double down or pull back? Type 1 to strike harder, 9 to hold the line. Your choice could decide who controls the sea. At 7:46, the sea falls eerily silent. The hum of radar fades, communications flatten, and every digital display turns to static. The Chinese strike group unleashes its full electronic warfare barrage, a blinding storm of interference that devours the spectrum itself. Even the stars above seem to flicker. Inside John Finn, power circuits trip, screens dim to gray. "We've lost CEC link, we're blind," an officer shouts. Keen doesn't hesitate. Switch to redundancy mode, manual optics, lasers, human eyes. Crews rip open emergency panels, hauling out scopes and handheld rangefinders. On the rig, chaos tightens its grip. Automatic turrets seize mid-rotation. Operators slam them into manual control. Thermal goggles glow faintly in the smoke as spotters shout bearings by voice. Target! Bearing 180, altitude low. Tracer fire arcs red across the darkened horizon, guided by instinct and shouted commands. Above, growlers slice through the jamming field, relying only on training and nerve. Without data links, the pilots become their own sensors banking through clouds of static, releasing decoys by feel. One aircraft disappears into vapor. Another reemerges low and trailing smoke, its pilot flying blind but alive. Beneath the waves, Ohio and Louisiana drift in silence. Sonar is gone. Navigation reverts to paper, pencil, and pulse counting. Each crew member knows that one wrong bearing could mean collision or exposure. The sea itself becomes a void. No signals, no satellites, no certainty. Only flashes of fire and human resolve cut through the static. For 30 endless minutes, the world fights without eyes. And in that blackout, men remember what war feels like when stripped of technology, raw, close, and terrifyingly human. At 8:15, the blackout shatters. The first signal returns a faint pulse from an Allied P-8 orbiting high above the chaos. One by one, feeds reconnect, patchy but alive. Keen seizes the moment. Push targeting data to strike assets, all units. Execute shot order 3. The sea ignites. From Louisiana's launch tubes, another salvo of Tomahawks erupts, racing toward enemy escorts. Above, growlers reappear, coordinating with Super Hornets to suppress the crippled Shandong. The carrier's flight deck is scarred, but her remaining J-15 claw into the air, desperate to turn the tide. Missiles crisscross the horizon. An SM-6 streaks upward, slicing through vapor trails, while loitering munitions dive from the clouds in perfect silence. The Shandong is struck amidships. A plume of smoke blooms like a storm. Its engines falter, fire licking across the island superstructure. Damage control teams race, but the deck tilts 1 degree, then 2. On the rig, the defenders stand amid debris and flame. CIWS online again, a gunner yells. The system whirs to life, cutting down the last wave of drones. Keen's voice crackles through the restored channel. Good shooting, keep the rig alive. The words carry across comms like oxygen and smoke. Underwater, Ohio detects a torpedo launch from a Type 093. Counterfire is immediate. 2 Mach 48 slip into the dark, guided by inertial whisper. Moments later, a muted bloom, a pressure wave, then silence. One enemy sub gone. From orbit, satellite imagery confirms the shipped Shandong listing. Several escorts disabled. Plan formation in retreat. Allied channels flood with data, laughter, and relief. The blackout has turned to light. Across the trade lanes, tankers swing wide while underwriters recalc risk. Markets quiver as black plumes stipple the morning sky. But amid the victory chatter, Keen stares at the burning horizon. We held but barely. Next time, they'll come prepared. Around him, sailors slump in exhaustion, the smell of ozone and salt hanging heavy. The camera lingers on the rig, battered, smoking, yet unbroken. Over the radio, a calm voice cuts through the static. Freedom of navigation maintained. If you believe the line should hold no matter the cost, press 1. But if you think the sea's peace is worth restraint, press 9. The battle ends, but the sea does not rest. Smoke trails fade into dawn, and the once bright waters of the South China Sea ripple with wreckage and oil. The Heisey 981 platform still stands, blackened and scarred, a monument to endurance and warning. On John Finn, the deck is quiet except for the sound of boots and wind. Medics move between stretchers. 5 injured or stabilized, 2 still unconscious. Keen walks the corridor alone, eyes hollow. He knows the headlines will call it a victory, but victory feels fragile, almost borrowed. Across the horizon, the crippled Shandong drifts toward escorts. Smoke spills from its deck, signals faint and flickering. Satellite imagery shows tugs converging. The carrier will survive, but barely. Thousands aboard face the same truth. There are no real winners at sea. Allied chatter hums through the comms. The Philippines increases patrols. Japan shares radar data, and insurers lift restrictions on shipping lanes. Yet beneath diplomacy, unease lingers. Every analyst, every sailor knows this was only round one. In Washington, reports stream across glowing monitors. Enemy losses, trade disruption, market impacts. One line stands out in Keen's debrief. Mission objective achieved. Platform operational. But the silence that follows feels heavier than the words. On the rig, welders seal torn rails while crews deploy oil booms in slow arcs. Over open channels, a list of names is read and repeated, each syllable cracking with static. In distant ports, families watch trembling footage, counting silhouettes against smoke, hoping for one they know. The final shot, a wide aerial view. The rig burns faintly in the mist, ships circling like guardians. The narrator's voice fades. We fought to protect a symbol and became one ourselves. Then the screen darkens, leaving one thought adrift on the waves. Freedom fragile, but unbroken. If you believe such a victory is worth the cost, press 1. If you think peace is the truer strength, press 9, and tell us why in the comments.